Falls, the telephone company, and R&J Broadcasting Incorporated is proud to present to you this broadcast on yourliveevent.com.
Welcome inside the first robotics competition at the Great Northern Regional here in 2022 inside the Alaris Center at Grand Forks, where we have teams from across the upper Midwest and North Dakota and Minnesota, from the Twin Cities to Devil's Lake, Fargo, and Moorhead, and in between. It's a lot of fun here. This is day number 1 of 3, where you have practice sessions before you finally get to the spot to be a little bit of qualifiers. As you can see behind us, the robotics competition of high schoolers. These are kids that, whether it's 1 year in the program or 4 years in the program, and then you have advisors as well. We will be talking with people in the pits working on some of the modifications throughout the week here inside the Alaris Center, how they get their robotics ramped up and what this type of regional can provide. There's over 1,500 students, over 50 teams competing, and we got it all for you right here on your live event. Again, check out day 1, day 2, and day 3 coverage here at the first robotics competition. It's the Great Northern Regional on your live event. Brenda Zinke from Devil's Lake, your mentor, the coach, all between. Take us through what's going on here at the Alaris Center in terms of day number 1 of this robotics competition, if someone hasn't been or seen one of these before.
We, in our team anyhow, we're working on a robot still. It's not quite working, but there's lots of teams around helping us, and it's just a lot of commotion. We're going to try to get on the practice field today. Lots of neat ideas with the robots, and there's lots of teamwork going on in our teams and the other teams helping us.
The one thing I think that's a lot different from maybe some other sports is there's cooperation, like you said, from other teams, other schools. Take us through that and what that kind of does for high school teams and high school kids.
Mm-hmm. It helps them see that it's good to be helpful to others, and it just teaches them collaboration and that it's okay to help the other team and that you all benefit from that. And I think that's a great life skill.
Brenda, is this one of those, take us through the robotics. What is the robotics going to do? Or what, how are they going to be, so to speak, judged, throughout this weekend here at the Alaris Center?
Well, this is only our second year, and last year we didn't get to compete, so it's kind of all new to me. They're going to be on the playing field for competing against other robots, and they're going to be judged on how they can make the balls into the hub and hanging on the monkey bars, and then they're also judged on their collaboration with other teams, I believe, and just working together.
And specifically for Devil's Lake, how has this kind of came together the last couple of years? Have you seen a lot more students get involved in year number 2?
Yes, it has been. We have 8 here with us today, but we had about 17 sign up this year, and last year we only had about, I think, only 8 total, so it's about doubled, and I think we'll have more kids after this because it's really great, and I think they're having a lot of fun.
Hey, Brenda, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the weekend here at the Alaris Center.
Thank you.
Austin Aiken with us here from Devil's Lake to Firebirds Robotics. And Austin, first and foremost, day number 1 of a 3-day competition here. How's everything going in day number 1 for the Firebirds Robotics?
I think it's going great. We're trying to get a lot of stuff done. We're a little behind on a few things, but I think we're going good.
The one thing about this, how have you seen it grow from last year to this year, specifically for Devil's Lake, in terms of the amount of classmates, you and yourself, that are here inside the Alaris Center?
Well, we got a few new people, and from last year's robot to this year's, we got a lot more done. Because last year we didn't even have any hands. It was more or less just the robot, so I think we're improving. The one thing about what your robot is going to accomplish, what's this year's task, or what's this year's goal, kind of throughout, day number 1 here, what are some of the kinks you're trying to iron out? Well, last year we didn't have a lot that weren't ready, so we didn't have arms, ability to shoot, automated driving. We didn't have a lot of that last year, so we're pretty much, the way I see it, our goal is just to get a lot of that set up. And then is this one of those deals where it's just a little bit, tinkering and working on things throughout the day to try to get to your ultimate goal? Is that kind of what this day is kind of about? Pretty much. That's pretty much what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get everything set up. We just finished our programming, so it drives pretty much the way we want it to. Final thing for you, what is programming? What's kind of the behind the scenes that people don't get to see in robotics? Take us underneath the hood, so to speak, Austin. Well, I barely understood it myself to begin with. I'm only into intro to programming myself, so we had Northwood help us last year and this year with the programming, so I'm still learning myself, so honestly I can't really answer that well.
All right. Well, Austin, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend here inside the Alaris Center.
Yep, and thank you.
Day one inside the Alaris Center as we got a little bit of Robotics from Stephen, Minnesota with us right now, and with us again is Thomas. And Thomas, take us through day number one here. How's everything going, and what's kind of the goal this year with this specific robot?
You know, it's going pretty good this year. Our main goal this year is to just get it done and get competing. We've had lack of numbers. A couple seniors graduated and not many people went out, and had a little bit of trouble starting, and it's went pretty good so far. We're getting our programming going right now and trying to shave some weight so we can compete. We've got a pretty interesting climber to climb to the top rung. It's gonna swing like some monkey bars, I guess, and we're hoping to cycle 2-3 times for balls to score some points in the high goal.
Talk us, it's all hands on deck. You know, this is something where you get the opportunity to wear these safety goggles to really work on the robot. How much fun is that for you specifically, you know, with you and some of the other classmates to be in here and really get, you know, a hands-on product with this type of competition?
You know, it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun. It's interesting. You definitely learn a lot. Helps if you want to work at a farm or anywhere, and it's great to get the experience. I'd recommend it to anyone.
What's the biggest goal for this team or this robot over this 3-day competition from Thursday to Saturday? How do you just want to see this robot to continue to improve and, you know, kind of work some goals?
You know, we've done pretty good in the past, and I'd like to see that continue, and hopefully it goes good.
Thomas, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
With Ander with Thunder Robotics with us here inside the Alaris Center, day number one. Ander, what has this first day kind of been like, you know, putting the robot together and just kind of seeing if it all comes together kind of with the pieces here for day number one?
Kind of just a rush to get everything together and be planning and helping other teams and just trying to make sure everyone gets their robot going.
This is one of those competitions where it's literally hands-on for anyone that's involved. How fun is that to kind of, you know, get your feet a little dirty and hands a little dirty throughout the day?
It's fun, gives you experience for later on life and just good experience in general.
This robot competition, I know you said you've been doing this now for a couple weeks. What is this 3 days going to be like for you specifically in this team? What are you looking to hopefully get some goals accomplished throughout this weekend?
Be a good rank and just better our robot and, I don't know, make it better.
Is this a little fun than being in school throughout the day, able to go inside the Alaris Center and see some other people from across the Red River Valley?
Yeah, it's fun. Get out of school and good experience meeting other people.
What's been the one thing you've had the most fun about so far in day number one? I know it's still early, but what's been the one thing, Andrew, that you've liked the most?
I don't know, missing school probably. I mean, helping other teams too. Looking around, walking around.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Ethan Snetter with us now from Thunder Robotics. And Ethan, you've done this for a couple of years now. What's the most enjoyable thing when you get to a place like the Alaris Center and have a robotics competition?
It's probably just meeting all the people, you know, just having fun, just driving robots.
What's the one thing if no one's been to a competition like this before, what do you get out of it? What is one thing if no one's been to, you know, you hear about football games, you hear about debate club, you hear about, you know, concerts, but if someone's never been to a robotics competition, what can they kind of learn and see?
It's more of just get out of your comfort zone, you know, just having fun, I guess.
What's the goal? It's day number one of 3 days here to get this robotics competition. What's the goal of the robot that's sitting up behind us right now?
For today?
Yeah,
just adjusting things, you know, getting all the stuff that we practiced, make sure they actually work in the field, and just...
Take us through a little bit of the play-by-play. Are you guys moving a boulder? Are you guys moving a ball? What's kind of the end goal for this robot?
So we just gotta pick up the ball, you know, so we go high goal and we do climbing and stuff like that.
Okay, final thing for you, just how fun is it to kind of get your hands dirty throughout these robotics competitions?
It's pretty fun, you know, I really enjoy it.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you so much for your time. Quentin with Full Metal Jackets with us here out of Perm, Minnesota. It's your 4th year being in part of this robotics competition. Just what has it been about this that makes you want to do it every year, Quentin?
It's a lot of fun getting together with the team every year and just trying to be better than the last year, and especially this year with not doing it last year. It was a lot of fun because you missed out on a lot last year, and it's just fun being able to get back together as a team and do it again. Take
us through, if someone's never been to a robotics competition before, what's it like from start to finish putting a robot together and seeing it compete, you know, on the competition?
You get a lot of teamwork out of it and team bonding because I mean, some people aren't as good at other things as other people are, and it's just, you get to just see 2.5 months of hard work finally come together and hopefully do really well, and it's just a lot of fun, especially if you go to more than one regional. It's just, you get a lot of just almost, you just feel really good afterwards because it's just 2.5 months of hard work, and it's just really good to see it all finally work in the way you want it to.
For you specifically, what's your favorite element working on the robot? What is something that you kind of is your bread and butter the last couple of years?
I really like building it. I can kind of design the robot, but I like being told what to build and then I can go and build it, or kind of brainstorming what needs to be done. I really enjoy the building aspect of it.
Final thing, Quentin, in Perm specifically, how has this grown the last couple of years? Have you seen more and more kids kind of come out and try to be part of a robotics competition and be part of a robotics team?
Kind of. So the past few years, we had a small closet to work out of with a couple old toolboxes, and then not having done it last year, we didn't do anything, but then this year we got a new head mentor, Andrew Paulson, and we got a bigger work area, we got more toolboxes, access to more tools, more support from the school, so it's just been a really good year this year all around. So,
Quentin, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Dakota McDonald with Full Metal Jackets here out of Perm, Minnesota. And Dakota, you kind of were saying a little bit before we had this interview, it's been a family affair the last handful of years. You from a far side watching it, now you get to partake as a freshman here in robotics.
Yeah, my dad has been coaching for 11 years. He started off on the Fred team, and it's kind of like carried over, and I've always like gone to practices since I was like 4 years old. And once we went to Spirit Lake, I kind of like stepped away from it, and then we moved here, and I just like got really into the robotics program, and I was jumped in before the season even started, about 2 months before.
What's one element that you like to work on the most on the robot?
I really like to like help with building different parts. Like I'll work with my dad in the pits while everybody else is going off to matches, and I will just help build some certain parts that we need, and I helped build part of the climb, and it's just kind of fun doing that part.
We hear always, someone's into wrestling, they're in a wrestling family, or someone's really good in choir. It seems like everyone's really good in choir. Is it for the McDonald family, everyone's really into robotics, so it seems like everyone kind of takes their opportunity or their turn in robotics a little bit, Dakota?
Yeah, my dad, like I said, he's been coaching for 11 years, and my mom is planning on joining it to help out with our different marketing plans next year, and my brother has been like, yeah, robotics is cool, and same for my sister, and it's just kind of fun because I've also had cousins join, and it's just really fun.
Final thing for you, what's the goal for Full Metal Jackets? Day number one, I know there's a lot of practice rounds, some competition that way, but what's the goal over a 2-3 day period here at the Alair Center?
Well, at the beginning of the season, we gave ourselves 2 major goals, get to Worlds and get to State. Our main goal is to get to Worlds because we really just want to be able to show ourselves that we are an elite team and we can be really well, and show our school that we can do amazing things because we've got our very award-heavy school. So just getting an award would really help us show our school that we can do amazing things.
Hey, Dakota, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We're talking with Juliet from Red River Rage. You're a freshman at Fargo North. Juliet, how fun is it to be with other people, though, from South Moorhead and kind of the Fargo Metro working on this robot together?
I'd say it's pretty fun. We get a lot of teamwork done, and it's kind of nice having 2 different robots because we're each doing 2 different things, so we get experience double,
Take us through the 2 robots. What is Robot A and what does Robot B, so to speak, do with Juliet?
I would say the difference between our robots is ours climbs to the 4th traversal and has 4 hooks that are auto, and we do them. And then Moorhead has just a hook that goes up to the 2nd rung and pulls themselves up and stays put.
The one thing that you enjoy most working on the robots would be?
Probably the pneumatics on our climb. They can be a pain, but they're usually really fun.
What's the one biggest thing that you've kind of learned so far through day number 1 of this competition in terms of collaborating with maybe other schools or, with other teams here at Juliet?
That they might be intimidating and they might be a better team, but most of the time, there's always room for improvement.
Perfect. With us now is Jesse Frost from Cass Lake, Minnesota. You got a couple of robots here, the Accelerators and the Regulators. What's the difference? What's the similarities between these 2 robots, Jesse?
Sure. The Regulators are our all-male team out of Cass Lake, and the Accelerators are our all-female team. And some years they look pretty similar. The game design depends on the challenge, and some years there's an ultimate design that a lot of teams follow. This year they took 2 very different paths. So our girls' robot here has a higher level climber, but a lower level shooter than the boys, which has a high level shooter and a low level climber. So they kind of prioritize things differently, and they went down two different avenues this year.
You've been able to do this for 10 years. What does the students gain out of this from your 10 years here? What do they kind of pick up, whether they do it for a year or all 4 years at the high school level?
Oh man, there's so much, and it depends on what they do on the team. But I have two young ladies here that are really big into the build. I mean, they're programming CNC equipment and cutting parts for their robot independently. We've had students that have done essays and worked on videos. So it's whatever passion you're into, and you can find it in robotics. We've had boys teams that have gone on. One of our recent graduates is a 22-year-old, and he's a production engineer for a company out of St. Cloud. So I'm probably making a lot more money than I am. But he learned some of those skills in robotics.
The one thing about these, is this the same name for the robotic every year? Do they get to change names when it comes to a yearly competition? How does that work?
Yeah, they change the names. Sometimes it's based on kind of the theme of the game. Sometimes they remain nameless. But this year Synergy is the girls, and I'm not sure what the boys have come up with for a name yet, but we'll see.
Final thing for you, over a weekend like this, over 3 days, obviously you have the regular season in the build, but what do the students kind of get out of a 3-day competition like this at the Alaris Center?
Well, this is the culmination of effort that we've been putting in since January. I mean, some of my build students, especially the two build young ladies here, I mean, they put in 300 hours after school, on weekends, putting these things together. So this is why you do it. This is why you practice in football or practice in baseball, to go play the game. So,
hey Jesse, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend.
Yep, thank you.
Clayton Johnson with us here, part of the Cass Lake, Minnesota Accelerators robot, as you see behind us. And first things first, what's the one thing you like to work most on this particular robot?
I like the climber because it was quite a challenge for us, and when it goes to the traverse, it's just a very good feeling. When you see your robot working on the field all the time, just makes it worth it.
You've done this for 3 years now. What have you gained from year number 1 to year number 3? What are some things that you've learned in terms of getting your hands dirty and working with a robot, every day?
My first year, I didn't even know how to turn the robot on, and now I can manufacture all these parts and draw them up on CAD, and it kind of helped me gain confidence in my skills.
If you had to speak with someone that's going to a robotics competition for the first time and they're curious if they should do it in your own school or someone else's school, what would you kind of tell them to maybe take the dive in and try to give it a little bit of a whirlwind and give it a shot?
You should definitely try it. It's super fun. You can fit in anywhere. There's so many different opportunities. One day you're it's just a good feeling when you see your robot on the field.
Is there a specific name that you like to give your robots every year, or does it kind of stay the same?
No, it kind of depends on the group we have, and we just found that one on the internet. We were just searching one time, so it depends on kind of what our robot looks like.
Final thing for you, in terms of this particular weekend here at the Alaris Center, what's the one thing you guys are trying to work on the most with these practice rounds as you kind of get to Saturday and try to get to competition day?
We're just trying to kind of hone in our skills, trying to get the most cargo cycles, trying to get that traverse climb every time. We're just trying to do the best we can with what we got.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. With us is Aaron Jones of the Regulators from Cass Lake, Minnesota. And Aaron, what do you like to work most about this robot here over the last couple of years? What is one thing that you like to kind of get your hands dirty on?
I got to say I like get my hands dirty with the initial game release, actually, where all the ideas start coming out.
So you've done this for a couple of years now. This is your third year. What's the one thing you've learned the most within a robotics team? What's something from 3 years ago to now that you've probably learned the most?
Keep it cool with your teammates.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of time for a robot, though.
It seems like there's a lot of time, sweat, and tears and hours in it, like any other sport or any extracurricular activity. What's one thing that you enjoy the most about, you said about working on this project, but what's the one thing you enjoy most about with your teammates, so to speak, in the pit here and in competition?
Most thing I enjoy is actually coming to this competition. During the hotels, we actually had a couple encounters where we made friends with some other teams. Our last event, we made friends with, I believe it was Iron Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all sitting in the sauna, dude.
And then give us a team nickname. We always hear about nicknames kind of for the robots. What's the robot nickname and how did it kind of come about?
The robot's nickname is Pudgy.
Okay.
And it was actually one of our old teammates that came up with the name. And he said it was kind of like pretty much a put together, the robot. So we just named it Pudgy.
Final thing for you for this kind of weekend with practice sessions, and once you kind of get to the competition, what does Pudgy need to do, and kind of how do you kind of manufacture it throughout the week and kind of throughout the weekend here, and just some tweaks along the way?
Pudgy's going to need to work on his high hub shooting right now and his consistency. Right now we're sitting here working on the intake right now on the tri-field. And climbing wise, we're pretty good. We're pretty solid.
That's about it?
Yeah, that's about it. It's just shooting.
All right. Well, Aaron, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
With us now is Andy Paulson. And Andy, for this robotics competition, the first robotics competition, just take us through everything from behind us right now that's going on actually inside to where the robots kind of start and build, throughout the day. How's step one to sort of speak, step Z, how does everything come together here?
Sure, the teams learned what the game was in the beginning of January, so we've had about 2 months to get going. The game that we're playing right now, they start off in the first 15 seconds with an autonomous period. The teams have to pre-program their robots to run on their own for 15 seconds. During that time, they're going to be trying to score the balls that are called cargo. If they scored in the low goal, they're going to score 2 points. If they scored in the high goal, they're going to score 4 points. There's blue balls and there's yellow balls because there's a blue alliance and a red alliance. The red alliance has 3 robots. The blue alliance also has 3. It's a random pairing right now because we're doing some qualifying matches to figure out exactly how the game should play out in the end. Also during this autonomous period, they're scoring balls. They also get points just for taxiing or driving out of the area that they start with. They'll get 2 points just for driving out, which is a great thing for some of these teams too.
The one thing about these robots, it seems like they're multi-skilled, right? You got to shoot it, obviously, to grab the ball. You got to hang a little bit. So is every robot similar, or is every robot got their own unique tricks, Andy?
Yeah, that's part of that design process. Teams analyze the rule book. It's about 120 pages long. They read the rules, and there's no plans. So they say, well, based on the restrictions, this is my approach. So some of the teams are trying to score the cargoes in the high goal. Some are trying to go in the low goal. Some are playing a defensive strategy, and all that they're doing is interacting with the other robots to try and stop them from scoring. Since it's 3-on-3, there might be 1 or 2 robots trying to score and 1 or 2 trying to prevent the other teams from scoring at the same time.
So this is something where obviously if you're from your own town or your own school, you have maybe something you're working on in your specific robot, but you're also working with other schools to kind of form an alliance, so to speak, once you're inside that actual BattleBot zone, so to speak.
Yeah, a lot of teams right now have scouts walking around the pit area, and they're walking through the pits and they're asking teams, what does your robot do? How much does it weigh? Do you play offense? Do you play defense? Do you climb at the end of the match? What is your objective, so that they can plan ahead for tomorrow, because the top 8 ranked teams at the end of the day on Saturday at noon, they become captains and select 2 robots to be on their final alliance.
Hey Andy, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this week, and I'm sure we'll talk to you down the line.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ray Almold with us, now part of the Thunder Robotics from Hatton Northwood, and first and foremost, the stuff that's going on behind us, there's a number of different ways to score points and kind of collaborate, so just kind of explain what everyone's kind of working on during these practice rounds, Ray.
Well, everybody's trying to get their autonomous working, checking out the lighting and that, and getting their speed set to make their shots and their distances set, and so that's what they're basically trying to do out there now, is just get all their sensors and everything set for the matches.
So once these matches are going, what are some of the things that as a coach or as a part of the team members, what are they looking for once you get, practice match number 1 done, go back to the pits? What are some tweaks and what are you guys working on?
Okay, like for us now, our shooter was shooting a little bit long, and that's all adjusted by a limelight and a camera, and it goes off the reflective tape on the top of the goal, so they're trying to adjust that to get that dialed in and go from there.
How have you seen robotics kind of grow specifically in Hatton Northwood with this type of competition, this type of team?
Well, just the caliber of the robots, just the electronics, the sensors, the autonomous, it's just everything is getting better and more sophisticated, and there's just more things you can do.
For someone who's obviously knows a basketball practice or they know something about choir or debate, how much time and effort do these teams put in terms of a robotics team kind of, during school and after school?
Well, I bet you we put in about 40 hours a week, probably close by the time you take Saturdays. We go after school 4 nights a week from about 3:30 till 9, and all day Saturday, and some teams go longer than that. You know.
Ray, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend in Grand Forks.
All right, thank you.
From Pequot Lakes with us now is Cooper Johnson. And Cooper, day number 1 of 3 here of this robotics competition. You guys just got in the ring a little bit there. Just take us through the team and what specifically are you guys looking at through these practice sessions?
Yeah, for sure. So coming from Pequot Lakes, this is our 6th year. And this year we've really been trying to focus on doing a multitude of things. So our shooters being the most consistent, but we can also climb. And those are our 2 biggest things. Getting around the field, we've been working on too, getting to the other side. We put a camera on it so we make sure we can see both sides of the field. Our intake's pretty good, so it's basically shooting and climbing are our biggest things. That's what we're looking for.
What's the one specific thing you like to work most on the robot?
I like the shooter. A lot of people on our team like the climber, and we call our robot the bear claw because it's got those hooks. But I really like our turret. I think it's just sweet, and it shoots really consistently. So
It didn't take you too long with the bear claw to get up there on that practice round, did it?
Yeah. We didn't have quite enough time to get to that 3rd rung, but we're looking to do that in the matches coming up. So
I know it's the first year you said you've done this. What's the one thing you've taken away most of being part of this, Patriotics robotic team?
Yeah. I would say teamwork. We have 24 kids on our robotics team, and everybody has like a certain job. Like in different sports, only let's just say basketball, only 5 people can play at a time. But here I feel like everybody's really encompassed in the sport, and no one's left out, for sure.
Hey, Cooper, thanks so much for your time, and best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
With us now is Michael Newman, and Michael from Pequot Lakes here. And the one thing, you've done this for 4 years now. So from year 1 to year 4, what have you kind of learned, and what have you kind of taken away from a robotics team?
Well, see, a lot of it has been kind of working with the peers I have. I've become a scout captain. I took that up in my 2nd year. So I've done some organizing of the team, just trying to make sure everyone knows what's going on. And even now, I'm doing stuff, just keep trying to make sure people watching from home can know what's going on. So a lot of it's just kind of keeping stuff organized. That's a theme we have on our team. And a lot of, just kind of learning about how to build the robot and work together.
Talk us through, because it seems like at times it's like a NASCAR pit crew in the back. Well, a little bit, everybody works and stuff. You said you're a scout captain. So what is a scout captain in terms of a robotics field?
So what I'm kind of just, I have a spreadsheet, I have people watching the matches, kind of keeping track of how well each robot does, and then I take all that data, I sort through it, I take averages, I get the average points per match or average cargo score and all that, and I have leaderboards that auto sorts it and all stuff like that.
So the one thing about this is obviously you want your own particular robot to do well, but you're also trying to find those other robots and teamwork to do well once you get to a situation like this in the practice rounds. Is that kind of the best way to put how some of these competitions kind of work throughout the weekend?
Yeah, and another thing is we kind of want to know what other robots do so we can work well together. So nothing we do is at the beginning of each match we'll go to a teammate to be like, hey, what do you guys do? So we know not to interfere with you, and so we can kind of work together and do what we can do, best we can do.
Final thing for you, Michael. What's the one thing through 4 years here? What's your one thing that you like to do most on the robot, or try to fix or work with the robot?
I think one theme my favorite has been the climbing. The climbing each year is pretty fun to try to accomplish, like getting up to the traversal rung in a matter of however much time. Just trying to have a fast, efficient climb.
Awesome, Michael. Thanks so much for your time, and best of luck this weekend.
All right, thank you.
With us now is Keith Longley here, and part of the Pequot Lakes program, and you've been here for 7 years as kind of a coach and advisor and everything, Keith. So how have you seen this grow for 7 years in terms of this robotics program at Pequot Lakes?
We started back in the 2015-2016 season. We had just 11 kids, 2 mentors, and it was kind of a club. It was just an after-school thing, and we ended up going to Duluth, and we were fortunate enough to win the Rookie All-Star Award. So then we got in the whirlwind of trying to make it to Worlds and collecting money, and that's kind of what catapulted our program into what it is today, because that got the community involved. I got a lot of sponsorships, just a lot of awareness for the team. A lot more kids came in. And every year we've had more kids despite last year, but right now our numbers are at 24 kids. We've had as much as 35, and every year we just try to get the program more awareness to students. And I'm a teacher, and I teach tech ed, so I'm always talking about the team and trying to recruit kids and We're just trying to make it more popular, and I think we're doing a pretty good job.
It's like anything else. If there's a certain football team or music team and you have a new teacher, new coach come in, you kind of recruit the hallways a little bit. Seems like you're doing the same thing, Keith. What does a student gain, whether it's 1 year or they do it for 4 years, in high school, and being a part of this Patriotics robotic team?
I think what our niche and what I take pride in with the program is that it's a place for kids that aren't in athletics to be. There's all different kinds of kids, different kinds of interest. Myself, I was an athlete, and I was a hardcore sports fanatic, and I also like the engineering side of things. But there's kids that are strictly the engineering side, and it just gives them a place to be and a place to grow their talents, and it allows them to look into this kind of stuff for a career. So,
and you hear that a lot in sports about how it builds you to the once you're done being an athlete. It seems like this is something it continues to help you out no matter once you go to college or you find something else that you can use some of these trades for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. We have kids that, for instance, just one success story, our driver, programmer, turned into my assistant coach for a couple of years, went into the Air Force, and now he's working for NSA on cybersecurity. So it's pretty amazing what this program can do and how it can literally change the kids' lives.
Hey, Keith, thanks so much for your time. Keep doing what you're doing, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Greenbush Gators with us now is a guy that's been on the team for a couple of years, Raymond. And Raymond, what's the one thing you like most about robotics competition, first and foremost, when you get to a stage like this at the Alaire Center, when you get 30, 40 teams from across the state of Minnesota and North Dakota competing?
I have to say my favorite part is being able to see what everybody else has designed. So, I mean, you can look it up as much as you want on the computer, and to be here and be able to watch the game, which is going on right behind us, you can see, oh, I never even thought of that. Why didn't we do that? And then you can build it your own and create something totally new.
This is something where obviously you have your own ideas, your own thoughts, but it seems like collaboration is a big thing from a weekend or year in and year out project.
Oh, yes, of course. Collaboration within the team, working with your teammates and on the field. So you have to drive with 2 other teams. So being able to work together with everybody, it's very important.
Take us through what the season kind of is for robotics, because we know in sports you have districts or sectionals that gets you to state and everything. What does robotics, how do you kind of get to state or worlds kind of once you go through these type of competitions?
So the way it works is you have your season to build, and then after that you go to competitions. You have to go, at least for the way it worked for us this year, is we went to our first competition in Duluth. We won that, so that means we're going to be able to go to Worlds in Houston this year. And we are here because, it's more an opportunity to show off a little bit and improve ourselves. And, our team helps set up this whole joint. So we like to be here and work for that. And then once you make it to Worlds, if you do, you go to Worlds. If you win there, you win. And then you go to state afterwards. Hopefully you win there too.
What's the one thing you like most about a robotics competition? If you had to pitch someone to join the robotics competition, whether it's in your specific school or somewhere else across the the state of Minnesota, what would you tell them?
I have to say it's so much fun, because my job is probably the most boring job on the team. Most of the time I stand in the pit and I get to talk to people. I'd say in the first 2 hours I was here, I talked to 40 or 50 different people from different teams, whether it was for scouting for them or just people, wanted to talk about the robot. It's so much fun to be here. It's so much energy to be able to talk to so many different people, and it's like nothing you've ever seen before in any other sport.
Hey, Raymond, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chase Miller at the Great Northern Regional 2022 First Robotics Competition here on your live event. It's day number 2. Over 80 qualification matches are going on today and tomorrow before they get to the award ceremony. We find out who are some of the best robots in the upper Midwest here inside the Alaire Center. 49 teams across Minnesota and North Dakota, and you have around 1,500 students and advisors as well. Behind us, you got the practice session that are going on to make some tweaks and modifications. and then from there they go out to the actual field itself and have an opportunity to show off their stuff, whether it's from throwing balls in terms of cargo into the 2 points or 1 points, or also kind of having some monkey bars as we see it there and having a chance to get some points that way, hanging up and showing their robots their best of abilities. Throughout the day here on your live event, we will continue to hear from some of those that are partaking in this, whether it's from the students themselves or the coaches as well, kind of get the names of the robots and what those students like to work on as well. From the Alaire Center at the first robotics competition, I'm Chase Miller. Join us now, Clayton Johnson from Frazee, Minnesota, part of the Chaotic Robotics competition here on the team here on this robotics competition. And first things first, Clayton, day number 2 of day 3 here inside the Alaire Center. So how does things change from, the couple of weeks that you have to kind of build this robot to the practice rounds yesterday to now having some competition here today?
Yeah, so building the robot, we just, keep working through kinks and all that stuff. And practice we go through and just try to do the best that we can. And now that we're actually into the qualifications, now we're adding strategy into the mix and all that, and it'll just keep progressing farther and farther as we go.
The one thing is obviously there's cooperation within your own team, but there's working with other teams as well. How much do you talk with other teams throughout the day and throughout the morning in terms of maybe what works well with their robot? Might be a weakness of yours, but maybe a strength of yours might be a weakness of theirs.
As long as nothing is broken, we'll go out and we'll talk, maybe 10-15 minutes before the match, and we'll go and make sure that everything's in line, everyone knows where they're starting, ending, what the game plan is for in the match and all that, and then we hop in there and hope that we do the best that we can.
You've been part of this team now for 6 years. What have you enjoyed most, working on a robotics competition like this every year?
The competitions. Yep. That's all it comes down to is, we build the robots for the competition, and to be here is awesome, and see everyone, and yeah.
Is this one of those things where you have a game plan going into the weekend and then maybe the game plan changes a little bit just depending on how the matches go?
Yeah, it changes completely from the start to the end. The goal is to not look too far forward because you never know what's going to happen, but it's nice to have at least some sort of plan, but it changes every time.
Final thing for you, Clayton, what's your biggest takeaway being part of this group, as we mentioned, for 6 years now? What's your biggest takeaway being part of a group and organization like this?
I look at other teams and see how they do stuff, and then, just good ideas are good ideas, so if it works, it works. Build it if you have to.
Clayton, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Aiden with us, part of the robotics team from Thief River Falls, Prodigy, and Aiden, it's your 4th year doing this. What do you enjoy most about robotics competitions once you get to a place like this at the Alaire Center?
I just like seeing all the different kinds of robots, all the different designs. I like to compare our robot to everybody else's robot, see what we have similar, see what's different, and just seeing the atmosphere and the big bright lights and the big competition. It's exhilarating.
Day number 2 of a tournament like this, of a weekend, as the weeks go on in terms of building the robot, then you get to a practice round, now you've got a little competition. How are you guys making changes throughout this weekend, Aiden?
Well, we had a really big change actually. Our practice ball that we were practicing at home was deflated too low. So when we were using the balls here, they were rock hard, and we're like, oh, this is not good. So we aired ours up just to see what would work, and it didn't fit in the feeder. So yesterday we spent last night and a little bit of this morning adjusting our feeder intake so we can actually fit those rock hard balls in there, because the softer ones, when we put the harder ones in there with our soft setting, it flew about 40 feet in the air, so we had to adjust that, but I think we're all good now.
Your robot's named the Angler here, so number 1, how did you guys come up with the nickname, and number 2, what do you enjoy most working on the Angler?
Well, the Angler came from our hook on top of our climber, so it looks like a 4-hooked like fishing hook. So they named it the Angler actually yesterday. We just thought of it yesterday. And what was the second question?
What do you enjoy most working on the Angler?
The Angler, I want to go into electrical engineering when I go to college and for the future career. So I liked wiring it. That was my favorite part.
Final thing for you, we hear people about it's 1 driver, it's 2 drivers. There's obviously some code that goes into it. How tech is one of these robots once you finally put it on the floor and get to allow it to display the abilities it has the capabilities of?
Well, for our autonomous part anyways, all we do is shoot the ball and back up, so not too techy there. Yeah. But once we get into it, we have, it seems like a million buttons for our thing. We got like an up and down climber thing, we got the lower feeder, higher feeder. There's so many buttons to memorize, so that's why we have 2 drivers driving it, obviously. the program isn't too complicated. I mean, there's only 6 motors you can have maximum of the Falcons, and then certain things like that. But it really isn't too complicated when you get down to it. I'm not a programmer. I do the building and the driving and anything else. But our main programmer, she seems to know what she's doing, and it's pretty simple, little easy fixes kind of thing.
Hey, thanks so much for your time and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
With us now is Thomas, part of the Otterbuds from Fergus Falls, Minnesota, here at the competition. And first and foremost, Thomas, when you get to a competition like this, how exciting is it? You know, all the hard work that kind of goes into the quote-unquote build-up once you finally get to a practice round and competition now.
You know, it's a ton of fun. It's fun to see different robots, what other teams have done. It makes a huge difference on my perspective of the competition to get to see other top-notch teams competing.
The one thing, what are you looking for once you get to practice rounds to competition round as the weekend moves along? What are some of the things that you're tweaking on the robot itself?
You know, we're learning a lot about how our robot performs with other robots, where we can sit on the field and how we can pull up closer to that hub and work with our alliance partners.
What is the one specific thing that this robot maybe does well compared to some other robots that are in this competition?
You know, we find we work really well with others, and we've got a really solid traversal climb. We went up there and worked solidly.
If someone had to come out and ask you, why should I be part of a robotics team, what would be the answer for them, Thomas?
It's so beneficial. Learning about the engineering design process, all the STEM fields in general, and being part of a robotics team is probably the best way to do that as a high school student.
So with this one specifically, part of the Otterbots team, what is the name for the robot itself? Is there a particular name that you guys kind of came up with?
Yeah, this year it is Crunch. We actually fell off the climbing system about a week ago now, and it came down with a large crunch. We fixed our problems though, and so now we're really solid again.
Hey Thomas, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
With the Bemidji RoboJacks, team 4674, and Avery joins us to talk about how the robotics event is going at the Great Northern Regional. And Avery, it's day number 2. How have things gone for your team?
Well, things have gone so far already. No major mechanical issues. During our last match, we had a just random power loss mid-climb. So we've been trying to chase that, but otherwise just tiny little things here and there that we've just been fixing.
What's the process when you have a power loss or something else goes wrong to get it done so you can get back in the arena for your next match?
Well, as for power loss, we just look back in the logs and try to figure out what went wrong, try to trace it back to the problem. But an example that I'll use for mechanically is we had a fitting brake loose for our pneumatics. We get back here, we just reevaluate the situation, be like, okay, what do we need most? We work on that, and we just go through our checklist, making sure every single thing is done. So item A is done, item B, item C. We just go through the checklist, and then we're set to run.
Is that something that you challenge yourselves with in practice or during the week leading up to competitions of let's try and make something fail so that we can go in and know how to fix it?
Well, we try not to make things fail critically, but we do things in events of, okay, this might happen, let's train ourselves in readiness.
All right. And yourself, you're a senior, been doing it for 4 years. What's been some of the highlights here through your 4 years now in robotics?
Some of the highlights is the people I've met along the way. You know, I've met some of the best friends I've ever met along the way, and we've just formed kind of a team, kind of a family, so to speak, through this. So that's my highlight.
All right, and anything that you tell to anyone who's considering robotics, whether it's your school or any school?
Something I tell them to consider is do it, because you'll meet some of the best people you'll ever meet. You know, people you never think of in your mind ever. It's really a family thing here. You know, we work to better ourselves constantly, and if you want something that'll meet all around goals, First Robotics is it.
All right. Being a senior too, has it given you some insight on what you want to do going forward after high school?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I want to become a mechanical engineer, hopefully working for John Deere in the future. So this will definitely help me further in my career path.
That sounds good. Avery, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it. Best of luck as you continue on.
Thank you.
Back again with the Bemidji RoboJacks, and Alia joins us. Junior on the Bemidji Robotics team, and first of all, how have your 3 years of robotics gone for your experience?
They've gone really great. I've learned a lot. My sophomore year, COVID hit, so we didn't get to build a new robot, but that was a great time to kind of learn about how to do programming and kind of rebuild our team.
And this year, that coding part of your role, have you had that same role every year?
Yeah, I mean, my freshman year, I was doing scouting and data analysis just because I wasn't super knowledgeable about Java programming, and I was being trained in. And then my sophomore year, I continued being trained in just because we weren't building a new robot. So this year is kind of my first year really being hands-on and programming the robot. So
how have you learned that, or how have you taught yourself so that you can be proficient in it?
I think the biggest thing I've done is probably just like asking questions, and when I know someone is knowledgeable about it, I'll ask them, and I'll just keep asking until I kind of am more comfortable with the topic. So.
All right, and as far as the robot this year, what were some of the challenges for what you guys envisioned to accomplish the goals in the matches that you had to overcome in that programming side?
Well, I'd say programming was not as much of a challenge just because our robot kind of has a more like manual basic programming structure. The challenge has mostly been on the wiring side, and we've been having like some CAN bus issues and different issues just with wiring. So we had to kind of deal with those during our first competition in Duluth. So.
And have some of those changes been good, making those?
Yeah, for sure. They've made our robot a lot more reliable, and they've also kind of taught the control systems team what to look out for and how to troubleshoot different issues.
All right, Alia, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Best of luck here in the competition.
Thank you.
With the Bemidji RoboJacks, we have Sam joining us, a freshman rookie on the team here for you. Sam, thanks for talking with us. Let's talk about your role with the robotics and what you do for this RoboJacks team.
Okay, well, I've been helping build the robot since January we started, and then we went to the Duluth competition, and then after that we made a few adjustments, but before we came here.
All right, so in January when they came out and said, here's what the objectives are going to be for this year's competition, how did you guys approach that there to problem solve and figure out how you want to build your robot?
Well, we knew that climbing we could get the most points, so that's what we wanted to focus on from the start. So we made our climber first, and then we started trying to figure out a way for a ball shooter.
Was there a lot of testing and checking, or did you find the result that you went with pretty quickly, actually?
Actually, we did not find our result quickly. It was probably a week and a half before we were testing and thinking about stuff, and then after that we found out what we were going to do with the Traverse Bar climb.
All right, and you said you're also an assistant driver on this team too, so talk about that because the driver, obviously the one that's got to go out there and score some points.
Yep. So right now, what I've been doing today is I've been watching where Avery is climbing. So he's the driver, he's at his station, and then I'm behind the climbing. And so then I'll tell him when he can latch onto the next bar or when he should slow down because it's wobbling a little bit. So just some stuff like that.
I imagine communication is key in a role like that. Is there anything you guys do practice time that helps enhance that?
Yes, we've focused a lot on climbing. We've narrowed it down to what time we should go so that we know we're going to be able to make it. And just climbing, like extra practice. Practice is key.
All right, and as mentioned, you're a freshman, a newcomer to this team. How have you enjoyed the first year?
I've loved it so much. Like, I never thought... 3 years earlier, I would never thought I would be in this spot right now. I mean, I didn't even know what robotics was, and then I joined it last year at my junior high, and it was super fun, so I wanted to join this one too.
All right, and we're having fun, right?
Yeah, I'm having lots of fun.
All right, Sam, thank you. Congratulations on the year, and best of luck here today at the competition.
Thank you.
From the Great Northern Robotics Competition with Red Lake Robotics and Karen joining us. Karen, let's talk about your robot here today as we're going through some qualifying matches. And how have those qualification matches gone?
Well, today we did start off a little rough because our first round we did have a brownout, but we did fix that. Our second one, our autonomous worked, and for our last round we just did our autonomous also worked then, so we are guaranteed for autonomous. Though this round our intake wouldn't go down, so we are going to fix that.
All right, for the autonomous, what did it take to get that and get it down like you did?
Well, we did get some help with the programming, but after just working with it, we were able to do it, and we figured out like the exact location where the ball needs to go and the exact location that the robot needs to go, and after we got that down, it's just been like automatic.
All right, and your role on the team too, as far as building programming, what is it that you like to do?
I like to do all things because with our team this year we currently have 3 members. Only 2 of us are here today because one sadly got sick before this, and so it's been like a lot of struggles. Well, more like finding the time to do stuff because I'm also in other things, but I'm actually proud of the robot we did because this is like the most our robot has ever done. In the years past it would just move, but this year like we have an arm that goes up and down. We also have an intake that's able to suck in balls and spit them out, so I'm very impressed.
being in other things and activities, and this is a program that takes some time to do. So how do you and your teammates manage all that?
We would at least have like one person or two people during meeting time. So like because I'm in basketball, I wasn't meeting like after school, but I was here on the weekends, and so that's where I put majority of my time in, was the weekends.
All right, and yourself a senior here too, and kind of been a little tough luck throughout your robotics career, but you get to make it here today. What's this experience like?
Oh, it's awesome because like I heard everyone's like input about it, and like I didn't realize like the atmosphere of it, and like being able to drive and seeing like all the hard work that you put in for 6 weeks, like actually seeing like what it does and like the effect of it. So I'm really excited.
All right, when you started building your robot, what was the planning or the strategy to decide on the design and the build?
We did base ours off of the EveryBot, which is 118 team. They build a robot in like 3 days, and then they have like instructions on how to build it. So we did wait a week for that, and then we did make some alterations on our own and our programming as ourselves.
All right, were you able to build yours in 3 days?
No. I wish so.
All right. Well, hey, the 3 days here at the competition. So Karen, you and your team enjoyed. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it, and good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
With the Plaid Pillagers out of Pillager High School, and Nathaniel with us. Here at the robotics competition, day number 2. How have things gone for your team so far? What did you learn yesterday and so far today?
Well, we've had some problems, but nothing we can't deal with.
All right. Always got to encounter some problems. Have you been able to work on some solutions?
Yeah, we've gotten everything fixed so far, and we've made it to some competitions.
All right. For you, your role, what is it with this team?
I'm the electrical leader, so I get all the wires hooked up to make sure everything works.
All right, and what have you done to learn how to do that properly, make sure that everything works, no shorts, nothing like that?
I don't know, do it right the first time.
That's a good focus. I like that. Well, for the team here, take us through what it's been like the last couple of years with kind of the virtual, the digital aspect of it, now be in person this year.
Yeah, well, we had a big team. We had like 10 people beforehand, and now we've had a lot of work and no payoff, so we've had a few people leave. We've got it down to only 3 people here today.
Has the payoff today been worth it to be at this 3-day event?
Yeah, it's great.
All right. What is your favorite part about the robotics?
I don't know. I really like all of it. Just problem solving and spending time with people, eating food and stuff.
What would you tell to someone who is thinking about joining robotics or is looking for a way to get it started at their school?
Do it.
A simple message. I like that. Nathaniel, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it, and good luck today.
Yeah, you too.
Casey Thomas in join us for the Lake Park Audubon Marauders, the mentor for this team. And as they're looking at the robot right now, you just got back from one of your qualifying matches. How did that go? What did you learn about the robot in that one?
That was a little tough one for us because our climber is broken right now. So, and then we broke a chain in the middle of the match, so we just started playing defense and moving our color balls to our side of the field. So the team's doing a really good job of adapting and improvising and finding a way to score points. So
yeah, adapt, improvise, problem solve. I think that's things that you learn to do. And as far as when you're out there in a match, something goes wrong for you, how do you kind of let your teammates know so that your alliance can still go out there and try and get a win in the match?
When I tell them a mistake happens, something happens that doesn't go in our favor, just keep moving forward. Next play. We don't focus on a mistake or a problem.
All right, and for this team, just kind of take us through the makeup here, the breakdown there, whether it's upperclassmen, underclassmen there that are coming out leading this team.
It's everything from it. We've got an 8th grader all the way up to seniors. We've got 6 kids here with us. We've had some more helping us that couldn't make it back home. But it's my first year, it's the other mentor's first year, and a lot of these kids' first year, so it's a lot of learning. but we're doing a really good job.
What's been the biggest hurdle as a new to the program there to learn and get done?
Honestly, just learning how to program all this stuff and design and implement that design. It's been a struggle, but we're here and we're competing, so it's fun.
Are we seeing as the kids get into it, program grows, more interest growing there at LPA there with the Marauders?
I think so. We had some kids asking questions like, hey, can we go this weekend? I'm like, well, you didn't help build, so no. So I'm hoping next year we grow this and we get after some donations, and I think we'll be in good shape.
All right, get a few more hands on deck and everything should be good. Casey, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it. Best of luck here as you continue.
Yep, thank you.
With Sputnik Robotics out of Moorhead, Brandon with us to talk. We'll talk robotics for you and your team. Let's take it through your robot. What can you describe on it to us?
Well, our robot is primarily a climber, but we've also been very focused and very good at our defensive abilities. Currently, in our upcoming game that we're about to play in, we are actually going to be doing some counter defense to help defend one of our team members for their shooting. But as it currently stands, we are a defense climbing bot.
When developing those strategies, because things change from alliance to alliance, how much do you put into the thought of what we want to do, or do you kind of just focus on one or two areas when building the robot?
Well, when we're going out to form plans with other alliances, I and maybe one or two other people go to each alliance team, talk over with them about a plan that we could possibly perform and do with them. And that has worked out pretty well so far. We have not won any competitions yet, but this next game looks pretty good for us in terms of if we're actually going to win or not. And so I feel like personally, when we actually go out and talk to them, plan out where we're going to place our robots, how we're going to perform during the games, I feel like we're doing better than if we were just spontaneously doing it. It does feel a bit weird sometimes going out and talking to them. There's been a few times where we've played with friendlies one time and then they were not friendlies another. It does feel weird because then they know all of our strengths and weaknesses. But I feel like it's a pretty worthwhile investment to go out, tell them about your bot, and see what you can offer to an alliance team.
That collaboration, a key part of the robotics competition, and just getting to know teams. And you're kind of showing that too with the buttons. Talk about the buttons, the flair here, and the effort that's gone into collect all these.
I am my team's primary button collector, as well as primary driver, one of the main engineers. And so the hat, this hat right here, I got right before I initially went out to this competition in the 2019-2020 year. And this weighs about 2 pounds. Gets very heavy and very sweaty. It actually fogs up my glasses a bit, which can get a bit annoying, but it's part of the flair. You gotta have it. And I thrifted this trench coat relatively recently, and I've been covering all of this on with this year's buttons. I like to separate the buttons depending on what cheer I can have. Sadly, I was not able to collect any buttons last year due to obvious reasonings. And so I'm not going to have as many buttons as I would have wished. I would have wished to have some here, and then on my senior year back here. But of course, my senior year is going to be here, and any extras will be in the back. Thankfully, though, I have inherited a pupil to continue on my button tradition.
Well, that's awesome. That's something that hopefully that tradition continues past them and for many years to come with those robotics team. And of course, that means getting new members out. So what would you say to anyone who's thinking about robotics, or what would you want to say to someone to get them thinking about joining robotics?
Well, if anything else, you're building a massive bot that can weigh upwards of 60 pounds. So I've seen some weighing 120 pounds. And the satisfaction and feeling of just pure bliss, finally seeing something that you've worked hard in perfecting and fine-tuning, working out perfectly, is just an amazing feeling that almost nothing can compete against. That's one of the main draws for me. Anyone who's looking to go into anything for programming, marketing, engineering, anything that's related to teamwork, anything that's related to just realistically anything like that, that's a major draw for anyone who would want to go into robotics.
That's great to hear. Brandon, thank you so much for the time, the information. Good luck on your next qualification here and going throughout the competition. Appreciate the time, and go get some more buttons too.
I think I have all the buttons this year, actually.
Awesome.
All right, see you around.
All right, we'll see you. Thank you.
Nope.
3, 2, 1, go!
Quarterfinal number 3 being played. Cargo being thrown up and into that having trouble getting all that cargo picked out because so much of it was scored. Into that upper head. Blue Lions with the lead 30-24. Drivers now at the controls of their robot. 59
Hello and welcome back to the Alerus Center for the Great Northern Regional Robotics Competition here on YourLiveEvent.com. I'm Jake Berkmeyer with you for the final day of the event as we finish out our qualifying matches this morning, and then we'll have our top 8 ranked teams go through and choose their alliances for the placing matches coming up this afternoon as they go through the tournament, look to crown a winner of this robotics competition. We'll talk with the players, the mentors, and a few other special guests join us today. The Great Northern Regional Robotics on YourLiveEvent.com. With Mark Lawrence at the Great Northern Regional Robotics Competition at the Alerus Center. And Mark, thanks for taking the time to chat with us as we were just chatting a little bit off there. Fascinating history that you have in the competition of robotics. Take us through starting what you've been doing from mentor to now volunteer, helping out, and just promoting robotics as a competition.
So the first program's been around since the 80s, believe it or not, but it hasn't been very active in the upper Midwest since like 2006, I think was the first time we competed, my team competed, which was really the first sustaining team in Minnesota. And we've been able to grow the program ever since then, outreach into North Dakota. Matter of fact, North Dakota's got a team that's way older than our team. If you look at the way teams are numbered, they're sequentially by when they joined the program. And 876, 877 are 2 North Dakota teams. My team's 1860. So those teams have been around since the early 2000s, or maybe even like 1999. And they've sustained that the whole time. They were required to go play someplace else because we do regional competitions. When they started out, the closest regional competition would have been St. Louis or someplace like Milwaukee or maybe even Chicago, when they first started. But we were able to grow the program sufficiently that we actually had the opportunity to start an event here at the Alerus Center, and this is our 4th year. We skipped a year last year because we weren't live, but it's been 4 great years of competitions, and we continue to grow the event.
And you talk about the Hatton Northwood team that's 20 years, and the teams that 1 year, and we had the mentor parade last night that showed a lot of the new faces. It doesn't matter. Everyone's here working together in that collaboration side of the competition.
The wonderful thing about this program is everybody shares everything. The game is announced in January, and within a couple weeks you can start seeing prototypes of mechanisms that actually score points, and it then becomes ingenuity and creativity of how do you solve these problems, and skill. How well can you fabricate your robot, and how well can you drive it when you get to a competition. So they get very sophisticated very rapidly, and the implementation of that is either good or it's bad. And everybody has a good time doing it. And one of the interesting things is the way the competition set up is on Thursday, teams come here for inspection and practice rounds, but the advanced teams that come with completed robots all fan out to the pits, which you see behind us, and they actually find robots that aren't performing up to their design specs for whatever reason. They can't, in this game, they can't quite climb to the highest rung. Their shooter can't quite reach the top goal, and the teams will help them fix it. You'll actually see other teams and other teams' pits working on their robot. The reason for that is late on Thursday afternoon, they find out through a random selection who they're going to play with or who they're going to play against. So you can think of it as a team that wants to be very competitive. If they're playing 2-on-3, which is, it's normally a 3-on-3 robot competition. If they're playing 2-on-3, they're at a big disadvantage. So they want to make sure that all the robots are functioning and working to their best capability, which is very different than you'd see in any kind of sporting event, because it's always us against them, and in this case it's all of us against all of us, and everybody wants all the robots to achieve their best, and it's a very unique kind of setup.
Well, and today we get to see who achieves their best. Qualifications in the morning, into the alliance selection through to the tournament here this afternoon. What's your favorite part about today, or just being here with this competition?
Actually my favorite part is to see the new teams that came here thinking they weren't going to do well, and all of a sudden, because of alliance selections, they find themselves in second place or third place or fourth place, and I'm going around, like late this morning with some of these high seeds that haven't been around for Alliance selection, knowing what it's about, going, well, do you know who you're going to pick? Because the top 8 teams get to pick their partners for this afternoon's playoff. So all the experienced teams have very advanced scouting systems. They're keeping track of how many balls are scored, how many rungs are climbed, how fast the robot is for defensive purposes and stuff. The new teams that just barely build a robot, they don't know about any of that stuff. But they're gonna be asked on the field, if they're one of those top 8 teams, to pick their partners, and they've got to be prepared to do that. And sometimes they're not aware of that because they're so focused on building their robot. So I love to go around and talk to them about that aspect of the afternoon. And then of course the playoffs are crazy. Everybody is into it. The crowd is electric, to say the least. And it's like any major sporting event you can imagine. And everybody's rooting for their favorite teams to actually win the event, and it's really fun. And it's really fun to see all the high-performing robots together on the field. It makes the matches very, very exciting.
And attracting new teams, people that are interested in robotics, getting it started in their school, joining a team. Where can they find information to learn how to do that?
So we actually have support staff from FIRST that works the area, and they can go on the First in the Upper Midwest website, which is what the web is, firstuppermidwest.com, and there's a contact us on that, and they can contact us. We have access to funds. The program, although everybody thinks it's expensive, I dare somebody to compare it to the cost of a football team or a hockey team or something like that. It's outwardly expensive because it's not buried in school budgets. So we rely on sponsors, which is a big part of what the program's about. It's not just the robots. It's all the aspects of team. It's all the aspects of getting out in your community and raising awareness of the program, and it's fundraising. It's getting in front of executives and asking for money. Company owners and all that, and showing them the benefits to them as a company for sponsoring your team. And a lot of teams are very good at that. And it's an aspect that kids wouldn't get in school. It's one of those 21st century skills that you don't learn in the classroom. So that ends up being really good for the students. So, and we can help find mentors, help address community issues, those kinds of things. And it doesn't take very many kids to start. A lot of teams will start with 3, 4, 5 kids just building a robot, and then they grow it into teams that are 30, 40, 50 kids as more kids realize it's not just the robot, and there's all these other aspects to it.
Well, that's great, and encourage everyone to learn more. Mark, thanks so much for the time, the information. We appreciate it, and looking forward to a fun-filled day here at the competition.
Well, you're welcome, and enjoy the playoffs this afternoon. I know I will.
Well, we will. Thank you.
2, 1, go! Quarterfinal match number 6 underway. Robots taxing off that tarmac. Both Alliance cargo filling that upper half. Even the Redlines is Newman player making it into the upper. The Redlines with a slight lead as drivers are now in control of their robots. 28-83, 1. Now 2 Red Cargo stored in that upper hub.
with Carrera from the Cass Lake Accelerators after your first quarterfinal match. How'd you feel that your alliance did in this one?
We did very well. We did everything we wanted to do. We traversed, they made climb, they scored as many balls as we can. We're like kind of doubtful but our match was actually pretty close. We did our jobs, and that's just how the match goes.
All right, you get another chance here in this best of 3. So what are you going to be looking at here in the pits to work on, get ready for the next time out?
Nothing broke, so we're probably just going to do strategy. We're going to traverse again. We're going to try to starve them of balls. We're going to just put our hats out. It's our last match maybe, so we're just going to try to have fun.
All right, thank you. Very good. Good luck, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
With Andrew with the Stampede team 36-30 after the quarterfinal round first match. Well, take us through that. How you and your team did.
I think we had some error. Obviously, we couldn't. We were sinking our shots with our team. We just need to coordinate more, strategize a bit more. We can get more defense, sink more shots. We can beat these guys.
All right. Are we looking at much repairs, or is it just going to be a strategy meeting back in the pits now?
Mostly a strategy meeting, but we'll work on repairing our climber, which I think was having a little bit of issues.
All right. Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Yep. Thank you.
After quarterfinal match number 3, we're with Thomas of the Autobots team 32-93, and congratulations, guys, throwing upset in that one. What did you do to do that?
You know, the big thing was Patriotics is a great team. We just knew that we had to play hard defense against them. So we just stayed on them at all times, tried to block as many of their shots as possible. At the end there, came a little close with the climb, so we just played it safe, let our teammates climb ahead of us, gave them a little extra time, and then it worked out for us.
You had the lunch break there to strategize with the team. Was most of it done there, or did you kind of guys have an idea if this might be an alliance and get some things done before that?
Yeah, you know, we didn't strategize any before lunch. Pretty much we took lunch, we talked about all the possibilities that we could do, and then we decided that playing defense like that was our best shot at winning.
All right, congratulations. Best of luck as you continue on.
Thank you.
3, 2, 1, go!
The robots are on pre-programmed settings the first 15 seconds of the match. Cargo being stored in the autonomous portion of the match. Drivers now take control of their another
North Dakota from the Full Metal Jackets, team 3297. And, well, you couldn't quite get it in the first go-around on this quarterfinal, but it is a best of 3, so what do you do now after this one to regroup?
We're going to try and fix our bumper because it was torn off in the competition, and so we're going to try and get that, and we're going to also continue to work on making sure that our intake is working properly, which it has been so far this competition, and we're going to make sure that our climber is still intact and make sure that everything is just good to go so we can have a really successful match next round.
You feel confident that those mechanical things work out, the strategy sound too?
Yes, they're definitely going to get it fixed, so it'll help us with our strategy, and we're definitely going to pull it through a win hopefully next round.
All right, best of luck, Dakota.
Thank you.
Advance into the semifinals is team 2883, part of the Alliance. Here, Maddie with the War Road team, and well, congratulations. What did it take to get those 2 quarterfinal wins?
Well, at the end, you saw our clutch hang from our team. It was crazy. We had like 8 seconds left. We didn't know if we were even going to climb, but we were so close in points that we had to, and it could have made the game if we didn't. So we just had to climb, and then cycling so much throughout the whole the match, and that made it too. So those 2 things.
What was it like there in the driver's area as those seconds are climbing down and you're trying to accomplish that hanger task?
Well, I didn't know we were going to climb until about 8 seconds left, and then our coach really helps us keep calm and know what we're going to do. So he told us we're going to climb and we have to climb, and same with our teammates. They're also saying go climb, and so we ran over there. And
all right, advancing to the semifinals. What's I know you haven't had a lot of time, but are we looking at strategy here for this next opponent?
Yes, we are. Don't want to give too much away, but we are just hoping to keep doing what we're doing almost, and then get some defense in too. Maybe that'll help us.
Sounds great, Maddie. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Yep, thank you.
After 2 quarterfinal matches, we're with Addie with Team 2508 here, and well, you tied up the quarterfinals. What changed in that second match versus the first match?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the teams were actually having some issues on our alliance during the first match, and we got that all cleared up. So it went a lot smoother. We fully climbed. In the first match, actually, we lost connection with the field, which has never happened before, but it happened, and we stayed connected the entire time. So I think we're good to go now, and should be good.
What did the Alliance do to adjust and correct those things in between the matches 1 and 2?
Well, we actually had one of the people with organizing this come and look at our robot. They thought our Robo Rio lost power during the last one. Turns out it was fine. It was just a fluke. And we also just made sure that we were strong on our defense and extra focus.
All right, got to be focused now. Here's for the tiebreaker coming up here. Best of luck to you and your Alliance.
Yeah, thank you.
2, 1, go! First 15 seconds of the match, robots are working on pre-programmed settings. Cargo being stored in that upper hub by 3138 errors for the red alliance and 2 robots for the blue alliance. Drivers now take control of the wing. The name of Mr.
Vision with Sawyer with Team 5172 after the quarterfinal round. Congratulations for your alliance to go get the win. What did you guys do or talk about to be able to go do that?
We just talked with our teams a little bit. We decided what we were going to do and what we kind of wanted to do throughout the match and how we wanted to play it.
Hey, you guys were the top alliance there, so you had your pick. What did you guys go into deciding who was going to be on that alliance there with those other two members?
Well, we've been watching 876 for quite a while, and they seem pretty good. Our mentor, Steven Luchny, actually codes for them as he does for us. And they've been pretty good so far, so we decided they would be the best match for us.
All right, on to the semifinals. What are you looking at, or have you been able to look much at strategy to get ready for your next opponents?
Not really. We've just been kind of trying to tidy up our robot, make sure everything's good, I guess. But
all right, Sawyer, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, after a thrilling tiebreaker in the quarterfinals, Team 8188 out of Grand Forks, your alliance moving on to the semifinals with Michael. Congratulations. Take us through. You win 1 and 3, and 2 of 3 puts you on.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm very excited. We're just happy to be here, and sadly we didn't make it our first year, but now, since of COVID, we have come out even stronger, and again, we're just happy to be here.
Yeah, and happy to get the win. What'd you guys do in between matches 2 and 3 to strategize, repair, whatever you had to do to get out of there and get the win?
We just had to fix some things, and then we just did what we did last time. We just had to fix some things, and then all around went well.
All right, now semifinals coming up. What do you got to do for the home team to represent here?
Do the same thing all over again. We just are happy to be here.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yep.
All right, Michael, congratulations. Best of luck to your team.
Yep. Thank you.
Into the semifinal round, and with Thunder Robotics, Team 876, Ethan with us for the Thunder, and took us through that semifinal match, what you guys were able to do, what you liked, what you need to work on.
So what we did is our autonomous, we got a pretty good 2-ball because our teammates got a good 5-ball, so we just ran that instead of our 4-ball, and then we spacing.
That's all right.
So we just we do our telly up. We run around, just grab our balls. It was a pretty good match all together. And once we hit that last 30 seconds, we ran over, did our traversal climb. Then it was a pretty good match for everyone involved, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Was it pretty smooth, or is there something that you're going to focus on here while you got some downtime before the next time out?
No, it's pretty much everything. We got all the kinks worked out. It's just we got everything down to a pact, pretty much.
All right, let's go do it again. Congratulations and best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thank you.
2, 1, go.
Semifinal tiebreaker number 2. Winner will move on to the final.
Well, after a semifinal victory for the Kellier team in your alliance here, team 6453, and well, take us through how you were able to do that, come out and advance to the finals.
So going into the game that we've been using mostly the same strategy the whole game is our goal is to take the blue balls and try and hide them from our opponents and then go over there and try to mess with their shooters, the high shooters. And it's been working pretty good so far. We haven't really broken anything. Around the 60-second mark, we're heading over to our climber and then we're just climbing our way up to the top rung, or all the way.
How important is for the Lions to so far been able to execute your strategy and not allow the other team to get you out of it?
It's been great. Not to jinx it, but it's been going pretty well so far.
All right, you got a little bit of time here before the finals here. If everything's working, what do you do right now?
Well, right now we have to fill our tanks full of air right now, because if we don't, we're outside the frame perimeter. We're checking a gearbox because it has a weird clank to it, but so far it hasn't affected us. And we're just waiting around. We're trying to keep our heads cool. We don't want to inflate our ego too much. That ruins games.
All right, well, Evan, we'll let you go get that fixed up. Thanks so much for the time. Best of luck here in the finals.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Well, after the semifinal victory, tiebreaker win for Landon here with Team 4607. Your alliance able to get the semifinal victory. Take us through it with the tiebreaker, the timeout, getting everything fixed. What'd you guys have to do?
Coming around. It's just, I can't explain it. Stressful. Really freaking stressful.
Yeah, certainly a team effort here too. As far as the alliance there to get you all ready, get you right now for the finals, what's the focus for these teams?
Just try your hardest. We'll get hardware anyways.
All right. Well, hey, Landon, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Best luck to you and your team.
Yep, thank you.
2, 1, go!
Finals match number 2 here at the Great Northern Regional. Both alliance scored cargo into that upper hung. These are 4 points for piece. That is special since we are in the autonomous portion of this match. Drivers now take the controls. Both alliances looking to score as many cargo as they can. 51-72 on the Color Robotics for Red Cargo
Well, welcome to the conclusion of the Great Northern Regional Robotics Competition as we have our winning alliance with us. We'll let them introduce ourselves from Kelliher, Hatton Northwood, and Greenbush join us. First up for Kelliher, 6453. First, introduce yourself.
I'm Evan Waldo.
Yep. All right, congratulations to you and your alliance. What was the plan here that enabled you guys to go out to get the victory?
It mostly our climbing. We could climb every time, and it allowed us to get onto a really good alliance, and we were able to climb and score ourselves 15 points consistently, and it just works.
As far as making it work, credit to your team, your alliance team members as well too. Is the climbing the focus when you got the assignment of here's what we have to build, here's our challenges? Was that the first thing you guys zeroed in on as, hey, this is what we want to do?
Yeah, we knew before the game came out we were going to climb. We've always climbed, that's always been our thing, and that was our main focus.
All right, coming into, you're the number one alliance. Did you guys feel like you had a target on your back at all?
I felt like at times we were getting pushed around a little harder than it would normally happen, but it doesn't matter to me. Our robots stuck up and we did fine.
All right, Evan, congratulations. Is there anyone you'd like to thank here from your team?
I just like to thank our mentors and our volunteers. We seriously could not have done this without them. They helped so much, helping us design and build, and it's just we thank them.
All right. Well, Evan, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Congratulations. We'll swap places with you real quick here. Slide on down with your teammates here from Hatton, 876. We'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Trevin Hins from 876.
All right, and talk us through here what you guys did to get a championship here today.
Well, at the start of the season, we struggled a lot with what we wanted to do, but initially we thought to have an intake facing the same way as our shooter, which initially helped us shoot from range while picking up cargo at the same time.
How did you guys as a team overcome those initial challenges there? Game plan, design, whatever it was you had to do to fix it and get it right?
We went through a lot of strategy planning, and we did a lot of several testings, and from our previous year's knowledge, we were able to look at our last robot, Scorpion, from 2020 season and see that having a climber facing the same way as a shooter wasn't this smart idea, so we thought, why not just swap the direction?
It's the oldest team in North Dakota, a lot of years of experience to look back on. How beneficial is that for your team, the alumni, the past designs, everything to have in that library?
It is very beneficial from our mentors being here for so long and all the experiences and knowledge that they have. It's really useful to be able to draw on their past experiences for new games.
All right, and are we already looking ahead to the next event now?
We are very looking forward to Houston. It is probably the biggest dream a robotics team could have.
Just what's it like to say that you're traveling to, you talk to other teammates, in the school, a state tournament, they're out to Bismarck, they're out to Minot. You're going to Houston for a championship chance.
It's pretty cool, but the main thing is that we work together to complete the goal. That's probably our biggest accomplishment this year, is that in previous years, we qualified for Worlds the previous year, but it ended up getting canceled from all the COVID stuff.
Well, certainly wish you guys best luck at that. Congratulations again here today.
Thank you.
There it goes. Again, we'll shift down here and, there we go. Just swap spots. Works great. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Berlin from Team 5172 from Greenbush.
All right, for the Gators here today, came in, you were the number one ranked team. How did your team go through then the ranking process, everything else into that alliance selection to get the team that end up won you the alliance that won you the championship?
Yeah, so basically we're looking for somebody who can climb and then also who can shoot, so we can have kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, kind of that all-around, well-rounded game plan then. How did it go as far as determining roles then?
It was good. We were hoping that we could just shoot and maybe climb at the last second if possible, and then just looking for an alliance partner who can climb, so we can just keep shooting and get those balls in to get points.
And throughout the few days here this week, did you kind of have an idea of who you wanted for an alliance and how you would work with them no matter who you get?
Oh yeah, we came in here knowing a few teams, but we didn't really know how well anybody was really going to perform. So.
All right, for your team as well too, should ask you as well, anyone that you want to thank as far as from you and your teammates?
Just basically everybody involved with our team. It's really cool to see everybody come together.
All right, well, congratulations here. Greenbush, Hatton Northwood, and Kelly are joining us here, the winning alliance for the 2022 Great Northern Regional Robotics competition.